Welcome back to another episode of Two Dimes and a Token. I'm one of your hosts, Bruck Nasty, along with Kanyeezy.
You know what time it is.
There you go. Now we know what time it is. So, no guest today. We are dedicating this to a football podcast. So, we got a little bit in store for you. Number one, drink of the pod. Grab it, Keon.
Oh man.
Yep. Grab it. We got our Terramana tequila. That is our drink of the podcast. Attaboys. So, unofficially a sponsor. Or not yet. Not yet.
Nah.
That's what I'm
Shout out to The Rock.
Awesome. So, first thing on the docket, my man, DeAndre Hopkins.
What about him? Tell me what you think.
Oh, shit. Let's be real here. Come on, people. We all know what the fuck we're talking about. DeAndre Hopkins was released by the Cardinals.
Arizona Cardinals. Mm-hmm.
By the Arizona Cardinals.
Yes.
And there's one person to my right that would love to have that man playing for the Baltimore Ravens.
I mean, don't get it twisted. I feel like we have a good team.
Oh, my God. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit.
I can't.
You're so full of shit. I would slap the shit out of your right knee if I could reach it.
I can't deny that I wouldn't want to see that lineup. Just give Lamar a couple of weapons.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Can we pull that up? Can we pull up DeAndre Hopkins stats? I would like to point this out. Number one, DeAndre Hopkins got released from the Arizona Cardinals. That's huge. That's huge either way. You can just Google it if you want. But honestly, like, that's a huge thing. Because that's a potential number one receiver in the NFL. It's not a number one receiver on your team. That's a number one receiver in the NFL. Let's be real. All right, last year, my man had 64 receptions, 717 yards, and 3 touchdowns, and he was out for how many games?
I want to say 8.
6 or 8?
Yeah.
Something like that.
BEDs.
Come on, bro. Half a season.
Yes.
That would have been a 1,500-yard season.
With ease.
With ease.
So, I mean, don't get it twisted. That he was the number one receiver on their team. You had Marquise Brown that left Baltimore and went there, and he's the number 2. So,
hold on. How'd you feel about Hollywood Brown?
I mean, Hollywood is from Miami. So
don't fucking sugarcoat it. Put your feelings on this.
I will never deny anybody that comes from the home team.
Oh my
Miami,
God, you're so full of shit.
You're gonna
right
always
now.
have a space in my
You're
heart.
so full of shit right now.
It's just like the Dolphins,
bro. You were so pissed when he dropped. I don't know what was it, 22 passes.
I'm always pissed because
I
feel like if you watch football and you have a team that you're rooting for,
yeah,
and they're not living up to the potential that they should be, you're going to be a little upset.
So in other words, I'm the catalyst of what you're talking about.
Yes. I mean, don't get it twisted. As a Carolina fan, you're always pissed.
Yeah, as a Carolina fan, I had a lot of hopes. You know, hey, don't shake your head like that.
I'm glad
That's
your wife agreed.
That's horrible.
I've never seen.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean,
she said, Carolina fan, depressed.
You could be a Cleveland Brown fan and it'd be a little bit worse.
No, Cleveland Browns still beat us in the game that we went to.
You're right. I take that back. You guys are at the bottom of the barrel.
Oh,
bottom of the barrel. But you have the first pick.
I'll be honest though, I got to tell you, being as though the fact we traded away DJ Moore,
yeah,
I'm not sure. I don't know what the cap space looks like. Can we look that up? What's the cap space for the Carolina Panthers? But honestly, if there's room, why not? I mean, Bryce Young needs a number one target. Right now, you have a bunch of guys that have potential. You have potential guys in Carolina, and you don't have a number one guy.
I mean, don't shit on Adam Thielen. I feel like he's done. He's proved
right
himself.
there at the top.
You know what I mean? I feel like Adam Thielen has proved himself.
Adam Thielen has proved himself, but at the same time, Adam Thielen is not a guy that can stretch the field.
We're not asking you to stretch the field with Carolina.
Yes, we are. A number one receiver has got to be able to stretch the field.
We're asking you to control the game. Bryce Young is not trying. You're not expecting him to throw 5,000 yards this season.
I'm not expecting him to throw 5,000 yards, but what I am expecting to be able to do is give him all the weapons at his disposal to start his career. Because we all understand what's going to happen when he walks into Carolina, and I don't want to veer away from the Baltimore setting that we have, because I know we have a huge Baltimore fan right here.
Yeah, of course.
And when Carolina's out the picture, yes, I'm a Baltimore fan no matter what. But at the same time, Bryce Young is still a guy that I want to come in. I want to give him a ton of options. He's going to be a young guy. He's going to start. Mm-hmm. There is no quarterback on that roster that's going to take that spot from him. It doesn't matter, because that dude's coming in on pick one money. they're gonna give him the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna give him the captain's hat. Let's roll. You know what I'm saying? So in my mind, absolutely. Why not? Why not throw DeAndre Hopkins into the picture? Why not do that? Because you have Adam Thielen on the other side. I know you have Terrence Marshall, and everybody in Carolina is really big on Terrence Marshall. I think he can be the same type of guy that Adam Thielen is.
Mm-hmm.
But Adam Thielen is a first down receiver. I'm going to get my yards. I'm going to do my thing. I'm not going to stretch the field. I'm going to run great routes. He's a great route runner, but he's not going to do much more than that. And let me back that up too. I want to give credit to those guys. A lot of dudes have made great careers in that. But every single Super Bowl championship team has had a guy on offense that fucking revolutionizes the field.
No. I'm a Baltimore fan.
Name one.
I'm a Baltimore fan. I ain't got to go far. Go to Baltimore. Who was on our offense that you were like, when we won the Super Bowl, that was like, oh my God, we revolutionized? Nobody.
Joe Flacco.
Everybody on the defense, everyone on the defense has already gone on record saying
it don't matter. I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, Joe Flacco had the perfect postseason that year.
It wasn't hard. I mean, given the defense, it's like Eli Manning. I will never take away his championship.
And then on the other side, you want to, and you know what? I'm going to even counter your argument because I already know where you're going to go. 2000, Trent Dilfer. Right? Yes, I get it.
Anybody can win with this team.
But how many teams have won a Super Bowl off of strictly defense?
Carolina versus Denver. You think Peyton Manning was the Super Bowl MVP? You think his game really mattered? Defense won that game.
No.
Defense wins championship.
No.
Von Miller, MVP.
Our defense was the number one or number two in the league. Hey,
who showed up that
let's
day?
look that up.
I'm
2015.
just saying. But what defense showed up in the Super Bowl? We didn't ask about offense.
I'm not gonna lie. You're hitting an emotional topic.
I'm just saying, but that's what it's about.
Yes, the 2015 Denver defense showed up.
That's what it's about when it comes to the Super Bowl. Who shows up?
Yes. So
Denver showed
2015 up. Denver Broncos defense led the team to a win. Yeah, blah blah.
Offense
blah,
gets you to the playoffs.
But on it, scroll down a little bit. 2015 NFL. Oh, right there. Opposition and defensive statistics. I want to see this. Because everybody was saying, oh, it's the number one offense versus the number one defense going into that game. And I don't think it was like that.
Think about anybody that's had.
Okay, Carolina was technically number 6. Denver was number 4. Seattle, they had the Legion of Boom. Baby.
That's what I'm saying. Like
that was nasty.
Any team that's worth
nasty.
Any team that's worth mentioning has a stellar defense.
The one other thing that I will say about that, and this is stats against them. The Denver Broncos, I do love this stat. 3,200 yards, 3,193 to be exact, and 19 touchdowns against them. Carolina, 3,700 with 21 touchdowns, but they also generated 24 interceptions, whereas the Denver Broncos only generated 14, which is why their defense got so much hype. And I mean, let's be real. Kurt Coleman, we were fucking hype about Coleman. That was his year. He had to show out in order to stay in the NFL that year. I mean, and that dude balled out. He had 7 picks that year.
I think Kurt Coleman knew that his back was against the wall.
Oh yeah,
and he showed up, and he doesn't get enough credit for that.
And not to mention, bro, Carolina that year had an impeccable pass rush. They forced at least 10 picks, no doubt.
And Luke, and you had Luke in his prime. So when I go back to with Baltimore, when I talk about Baltimore winning that championship, you got Ed Reed in the back.
Yeah, you
got Ray Lewis in the front. Haloti Ngata, Terrell Suggs.
On the other side,
you had a stacked 7 that you couldn't do anything. These are Hall of Fame players.
I get where you're coming from, but on the other side of that, again, if you really want to revert back, let's go to that 2015 Super Bowl, right? Denver, no, Peyton Manning didn't do shit. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure he had some turnovers, but they ran the ball. And what happened is Denver, they wore down the Carolina defense. They got them tired, and they ran the ball in the fourth quarter and sealed the deal. That's what happened. You know what I mean? And I will still say, again, offensive stud. You got to have offensive studs in order to win games. In today's NFL, the reason why I say that is because in that game, you had a stellar defense. You had a top 5 defense. I don't care if this fucking thing has a number 6. They were top 5. number one. And two, they came in, they had a strategy of wearing them down, and it worked. And they ran the ball. They ran the ball phenomenally. Anybody go back and watch that game. I watched that game one time, and I'll never forget it. Because in the third and fourth quarter, they ran the ball like it was nobody's business. Efficiently. The running backs in that game were the studs.
Now,
right? But in today's game, they don't run the ball the way they used to.
Yes, they do. How do you think the Eagles got to? They got great wide receivers.
Now, hold on.
You got one-on-one because you got to pack the
different conversation.
Well, I'm just saying, like, in this day and age, we were talking about Carolina and Bryce Young.
Yeah.
But guess who Carolina brought in? The Eagles running back. Because they have to establish the run.
Now,
it's about the philosophy of the team.
I don't understand why they didn't keep the guy they had, but at the same time, like, I'm not the GM. But I'll be honest. Who was the guy they had? Can we look that up? 2022.
Devontae.
Huh?
Not Devontae.
It was Devontae something.
Freeman?
Yeah, Devontae Freeman.
Yes. So
2022 Carolina Panthers running back.
So what I'm saying is when you have the Carolina Panthers running back who they have right now, he's a good mixture for where they're going. Like if this man has been into the Super Bowl,
yeah,
he knows what it takes to get there. He knows the durability. He knows how long the season is going to be.
Right there. All right, let's look at it. Running back.
We're talking about Miles Sanders here, but
see, that's Miles Sanders. That's now. Go to 2021.
But what I'm saying is, Miles Sanders knows what it takes to get there. He knows that it's a long season.
I'll be honest.
He knows how to be efficient throughout the entire season.
Yeah, Carolina Panthers roster and players. See, that's the problem I have though. I don't credit Miles Sanders with that season.
Why not?
Because
it was a whole bunch of dogs out there.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to disagree
Devontae
with you.
Smith, A.J. Brown.
Scroll down a little bit.
Even the tight end was good. Like, they had a stacked roster.
We interrupt this podcast to bring you Sunterra Solar Solutions, a leading-edge solar company committed to making sure they provide a phenomenal experience to its customers. Going solar was one of the best decisions that I ever made. Not only did they provide me a no-hassle experience, it didn't feel like a sales experience. It felt like an amazing person-to-person having a conversation on whether solar was going to be right for me. I was fortunate enough to not only lower my monthly energy cost, but they gave me an option to be able to create a stabilized monthly bill that I could prepare around. I qualified for a new customer incentive that put cash in my hand after installation, as well as I qualified for a tax credit at the end of that same year after I had it installed. All in all, not only was it the best decision I ever made, I lowered my monthly energy costs, I stabilized my bill, I put a ton of cash in hand. It felt like I got paid to go solar. And my most favorite part that I haven't even mentioned, it eliminated my exposure to future increasing rates from the utility companies. So if you think going solar is the right thing for you, by all means, hit us up in our DMs. We can connect you with a sales associate today. And now back to the episode. The whole point of what I'm saying though is like, I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, Miles Sanders didn't make the Eagles team. Jalen Hurts did.
No, I'm not.
They converted. Well, you had something to say. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying Jalen Hurts made the team because he knew that they got one-on-one on the outside. You got to pack the box because Jalen Hurts will still run the ball. So it's about strategy. Don't act like it's not. So if it's about strategy, Carolina has a great strategy with Miles Sanders coming in as a proven veteran.
Devontae Freeman.
Yeah. But I'm saying
Devontae Freeman, 203 carries, 914 yards. He had 5 touchdowns.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit, Foreman.
Yeah. You've been saying Freeman the whole time.
I'm so sorry. That's my bad. Either way,
they gonna think you're not a Carolina fan.
Yeah. He was a bring-in guy, but at the same time, like, bro, he came in and performed. He came in and performed. So when they brought in Miles Sanders and they released him, I didn't really understand the move. The only reason I didn't understand the move, I'll put it from a GM perspective. If I give him an extension contract, because he's on a 1-year deal. He came in on a 1-year deal. Everybody got hurt. Chuba Hubbard was hurt. They traded Christian McCaffrey. Mm-hmm. And then they bring him in, or he was already there in practice squad. I brought him up, right? If I give him another contract, I'm still barely above league minimum. Miles Sanders, I bring in, which this guy performed, and not to mention he performed, but he performed at a high level, almost at the same stats at Miles Sanders.
I won't say almost.
But I now have to pay Miles Sanders probably $5 to $10 million a year.
Yeah, but he's worth it. Because I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna tell you the reason why. Miles Sanders went out there and played in 4 more games than he did.
He played in 4 more games based off of technicality. I mean, when Chuba Hubbard went down, my man got a shot. Now, granted, the way the NFL works, my man got a contract somewhere else. Thank you, Foreman. You are doing your thing. Keep doing your thing, dude. I believe in you 100%. But at the same time, I mean, GM reality to GM reality, bro. Miles Sanders did not come in and perform an elite rushing title the way the Eagles offense is set up. He had a duo running back tandem.
They had 3 running backs.
That's my point.
They had Gaineswell.
They had multiple running backs.
Yeah, Burt Scott, and they had him.
Then on top of that, they had Jalen Hurts running the ball 20 to 30% of the time. So that rushing game looks phenomenal. But when you look at the stats from the team, but then when you look at the stats from the guy, I guarantee you, Foreman's price tag is 1/5 of what you're talking about. And that's the thing. I think you
got to bring up his stats.
Yeah, but the productivity is going to be the same.
Bring up his stats. The Eagles, 2022. Miles Sanders.
Yeah, you can just type in Miles Sanders.
2022 stats, and you'll see why Carolina had to overextend to go get this guy. Because what he contributes is relatively not just.
So he had 259 carries. He had 1,269 yards, 11 touchdowns. His longest run was 40 yards, which we're not going to compare that because Foreman was not a speed guy. And
we're talking about 2 different backs.
Yeah, we're talking about a little bit of 2 different backs. But at the same time, he started the whole year. Foreman came in on week 7 or week 8.
1,300, almost 1,300 yards, bro.
Yeah, and Foreman had less games and got over 900 yards.
So this is a guy playing with the league, right?
Yeah.
And it's 2 other people running with him.
Yeah.
Well, 3 other people. Because you said Jalen.
Because Jalen Hurts.
And he still got you 1,300 yards.
I understand where you're coming from. I do. But still, 259 carries? I mean, bro.
Average.
Let's be real.
4.9. 2 runs, first down.
All right. Can you go back? Go back to 4.
Remember 59. Oh, you got to right there, Ash. You got it. 259. So he
4.5. He had a long of 60.
But I'm saying he had 50 more carries with 6 more touchdowns with 400 more yards.
I mean,
that's a whole nother season.
Let's be real.
That's a whole nother quarter.
Let's be real though. 50 more carries. I mean, that can equate to 300 or 400 more yards. Because you got guys out there running sometimes 10 carries, 120 yards.
But these
depends
guys
on the game.
But these guys weren't playing. Carolina wasn't playing at the end of the season. They were just playing because they had more games.
I mean,
they weren't playing because they were competing for anything.
I get where you're coming from. Trust me, I get where you're coming from. But what I'm saying from a GM perspective, and this is why I say this, the stats are actually somewhat similar. If you add 50 more carries, 1,200 yards. Same stats as Miles Sanders. And on top of that, the touchdown ratio, depending on if you got in the red zone, that's all dependent on how the offensive performs. So to me, I'll be honest with you, the price tag of what I signed Foreman for the same type of running stats as I signed for Miles Sanders, to me, I would have stuck with Foreman. I mean, but again, that's based upon the money revenue. It's based upon Moneyball.
I can't wait for you to see Miles Sanders play this season.
I hope.
All because if any Philly fans really watched him this season, I want to give a shout out to Philly's head coach because they used him properly. They didn't wear him down throughout the entire season.
Yeah.
He only had 50 more carries, and Foreman only played in like 6 less games. So that means his use, man, he didn't have to take on that wear and tear. On top of that, they were up in a lot of those games at halftime by 30 points.
Yeah.
So you're not risking. He's not even going out there after halftime because I'm not trying to get my starting running back hurt.
Yeah.
So you can't really contribute to his stats because he didn't have to play after a certain period.
I feel you. To be honest, though, I really don't understand why the Eagles didn't retain him. I don't understand that because honestly, like, it's a really great. He was a really great fit to what you were doing. But I think they're also in the same mindset I'm in. I'm playing Moneyball, right? I can go out and get a guy like Dante Foreman, excuse me, and produce the same. And there's other guys that are going to be able to produce the same based upon less money because they want to have more cap, more players, all that fun stuff. That's the idea that I'm thinking of.
I don't think the Eagles were concerned about Miles Sanders because they got DeAndre Swift. So whenever you change out one Swiss knife.
Do I need to pull up the meme?
No, I'm just saying. Whenever you change out
DeAndre Swift, right? DeAndre Swift. He was 2 yards away from a first down. No defenders anywhere near him, and still didn't pick it up. That's the running back you're talking about. I'm not saying that DeAndre Swift is trash because I've picked him up in fantasy twice in the last 4 years.
You always had fault.
Hey, yeah, I know. Fuck, I always had faith, but at the same time, like I'm telling you, Swift. I don't know. There's something working against this kid. I don't know him personally. I will never talk trash about his personnel as far as his personality. He's probably a great dude, but I mean, maybe this Eagles situation really brings out the best in him. But I'll be honest, man. I don't see him replacing a Miles Sanders, and everybody's hype about it. I don't see that happening.
I can't wait for him to line up because the difference was Miles Sanders was an every down back that they kept taking out to make sure everyone got
had a breather.
Reps. DeAndre Swift, on the other hand, is a north and south. I mean, east and west. He loves to stretch and see if he can outrun people. And you're bringing in that Georgia pride. Everybody in Philly is from Georgia.
Everybody from Philly is from Georgia.
Like they just keep drafting from another Georgia player, They have something going on. I don't know what the coach from Georgia is feeding to the coach from Philly, but man, they're taking everybody from them.
I mean, let's be real. You can't deny the success. You can't deny the success from that. But either way, let's do this. We drifted off a little bit. We got in the dynamic, but. So where do you feel, and being a Baltimore fan, I know you're thinking about it. I know deep down you want a little DeAndre Hopkins on your team, baby.
Gotcha. But
where do you feel he's going to land?
I think, if I'm DeAndre Hopkins and I made a sustainable amount, it's about money, but it's not about money. My legacy won't be attached.
His legacy is going to be about rings.
Yeah. So I'm going to go to the person. It's kind of like a woman dating. I'm trying to go and get a ring. I'm not trying to date for recreation. I'm not doing this for fun. I'm doing this so I can find leave a legacy with somebody. Leave a legacy somewhere. Yeah. The Texans didn't do right by me. That's a bad relationship. Arizona didn't do right by me. That's a bad relationship. Where can I go and be treated the right way and also get what we're all working for? Because if it's not a ring, it feels like a wasted year. Yeah, you got paid every year, but you didn't take home the hardware in which you wanted to. So if I'm DeAndre Hopkins, I'm looking at it to where's my best chance to win the ring, and that's in Buffalo. That's in Kansas City.
You can't have DeAndre Hopkins and
Diggs.
Yeah,
why not?
You can't have.
It's just like Odell and DeAndre Hopkins.
And why? Yeah, but why do you Odell when he went to Cleveland?
Yeah, I mean, that was just a Baker Mayfield thing. Don't get it twisted. Baker came in with, I'm the best college player in college history.
You're talking about Madden stats at that point. Bro, I can't throw the ball 700 times in a single year.
The Eagles showed you don't have to. If he gets 2 touchdowns and he gets 2 touchdowns.
That's my point, bro. But at the same time, like DeAndre Hopkins is not going to be okay with a 6 touchdown year and only 70 receptions. He's not.
He won't have that. If you look at A.J. Brown and Devontae, they both went to the Pro Bowl stats. If you look at the Dolphins with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, they both have Pro Bowl stats. You can still be a main contributor, top 10 in the league, and perform well. You can have somebody. It's Batman and Robin.
I feel you on that. I I feel you on that. You're right. You're 100% right. The stats of what you just said proved your point. I don't know how the personalities would mesh.
What do you mean?
This is just and you can sideline this a little bit because it's a personal perspective. Like if I'm Diggs in Buffalo and they bring in DeAndre Hopkins, like I'm like,
what do you mean?
why? I mean, the only reason why is because they have a perfect dynamic when it comes to their passing game. They have
Gabriel Davis.
Yeah, they have Gabriel Davis. They have Knox as their tight end, and you have Stephon Diggs on the other side. Which I mean, you have a guy that runs routes. You have a guy that spreads the field. You have a guy that's tight end that's catching passes in the middle. You have an all dynamic receiving crew at that point. I just if I was Diggs, I would take it as an insult, but also at the same time, like how do you have those personalities mesh in a practice or in a game setting? Like you have two receivers that are telling you like, no, I'm going to take over the game, because Diggs has proved himself as a top 5 receiver. There's no doubt. I don't think that you can have 2 top 5 receivers in the game on one team. I don't think that it's something that you can work around unless their personality sets were just way more humble than what us as the fans really know. I mean, how that it's the same idea. Like imagine you had Jerry Rice and Terrell Owens on the same team.
But you did. Terrell Owens played in the slot, and he had 19 catches in the game.
He had 19 catches.
So he had the most catches in the game. You can have that.
Like, how long did that last though? And then on the other side, you're talking about with Miami. There's not a discussion there when it comes to the wide receiver 1s and 2s. Tyreek Hill is number 1.
Gotcha.
There's no discussion.
Okay.
If you put DeAndre Hopkins in Buffalo, there's a discussion, and then there's an argument, and then there's frustration.
You don't think it's an argument in Baltimore with Odell and DeAndre? They're both hungry.
Oh no. I don't think there's an argument at all. I think if you bring DeAndre Hopkins in, I think Odell takes the number 2, and I think he understands that.
How so?
Because he's been out of the year for a year. He's been out of the league for a year and a half.
I get paid $1 million a game. $1 million. We signed him.
Great.
We signed him.
I'm glad that you get paid.
We signed him for $18 million.
I understand.
Right? So if we signed him for $18 million, we're saying $1 million. Don't drop me, baby. I'm worth $1 million. That's the man. You're the man.
No, I disagree. If they were, because they have the cap. They have the cap to bring him in. If they brought him in, I think Odell Beckham Jr. has to take a number 2 role. I think you have to, especially in that setting, because let's be real. I mean, Hopkins played last year. Odell did not. And he didn't based upon his personal, I need more money. He didn't based upon. He
wanted to really recover too. Don't get it twisted like that. Everyone's rushing you back. But when you get hurt, you're the only one that got to deal with that dark room.
Yeah, and
you got to deal with the recovery.
Okay, I'm not. You're right. I'm not gonna criticize you on that. But I'm just telling you. I think point blank, I'm gonna tell you right now, DeAndre Hopkins is better than Odell Beckham Jr. Number 1. I think that wholeheartedly. So
I ain't never seen DeAndre Hopkins on the front of Madden. I ain't never seen him, blonde hair.
Coming
there. His kids.
Come on, man.
That are doing Odell's dance. I'm gonna put it to you like this. Odell, you talked about Odell.
Let's look it up.
You hear me? You talked about Odell.
Career stats.
Listen.
Go back. Career stats for DeAndre Hopkins.
You hear me? I want you to understand this. You talk about Odell not being alpha. He just understands what I bring to the table. You can't duplicate. You can't replace. If you look at him in Cleveland and Landry, you hear me? If you look at him in Cleveland with Landry, you see someone that didn't work.
All right.
You see him in the Rams with Cooper Kupp. Who's number 1? Who's number 1? You hear me?
Yeah.
Who's number 1? Him and Cooper Kupp.
I'm sorry. Go back down.
You hear me? Who's number 1 in Los Angeles? Him or Cooper Kupp?
Cooper Kupp.
How? If Odell Beckham finishes the Super Bowl, he's the MVP.
What the hell are you talking about?
Look at Odell Beckham's stats in the Super Bowl.
He almost broke the record for the most receptions and yards.
Not in the season.
He led the league in receptions, yards, and touchdowns.
I'm talking about the Super Bowl game.
Okay. honestly, I don't think that you can hold accountability when it comes to just the Super Bowl game.
How?
That doesn't.
Who shows up when you need to? Doesn't matter.
Who shows up?
We got a couple of players that don't show up.
Nah, bro.
When they need to.
Nah, who shows up consistently is what we're talking about.
Oh my God.
That's what we're talking about.
So you're trying to tell me?
Scroll down on that.
I know why you're a Carolina fan. I know why.
You know what? You're an asshole.
I know why. Because
Let me
Cam
tell you
showed
something.
up
Go back
consistently.
up. Right
but
there.
when it mattered.
All right, right there. So total, DeAndre Hopkins has 11,298 yards, and he has what? 71 touchdowns. Let's do Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham Jr. Right there. We'll look it up. I understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, like, no, Odell Beckham doesn't get the MVP of that game. Cooper Kupp does.
He does.
Come
Cooper,
on.
if you go to halftime, Cooper Kupp didn't have shit at halftime compared to Odell. Odell was doing moonwalks in the Super Bowl. Look at the stats, man.
I remember that game.
He was doing
I remember him being
whatever
very
he wanted to. Whatever he wanted to.
Yeah, I remember that.
They were doubling Cooper Kupp. I'm not going to deny what he brings to the table.
Then what are we talking about?
Because when it comes to MVP, they're talking about stats.
You know what was absolute dog shit though? You remember when they put a safety 1-on-1? Tampa Bay Buccaneers did it in the NFC Championship game
Against who?
Against the Rams. They put the safety Winfield 1-on-1 against Cooper Kupp, and it was like 4th and whatever. And it was like 3rd or 2nd down or something like that. It wasn't 4th. I'm sorry. Tom Brady went down and scored and did his thing. And then your boy Cooper Kupp, all of a sudden, I broke out of 1-on-1 coverage against a fucking safety, and then gets that 40-yard pass for them to go down and win the game. That was dumb as fuck.
I mean, we pay you to perform.
That's my point. Right there. What are we talking about? 7,300 yards and 56 touchdowns. 7,300 yards and 56 touchdowns against DeAndre Hopkins, who is a more proven success. 11,000 yards and 71 touchdowns. I get where you're coming from. I understand. But I'm telling you right now, I love you, dude, but you're wrong on this.
I'm telling
DeAndre Hopkins, if he went to Baltimore, he would be a number 1 role, and Odell would have to take a back seat. You got to be a secondary receiver. I'm not saying that you can't get 80 catches. I'm not saying that. But in that system, you're not going to get 80 catches as a number 2 receiver. You're going to get 40 to 60, right? And DeAndre Hopkins is going to be the guy that stretches the field. And then you got Mark Andrews on the other end that's going to catch everything in the numbers. He's going to catch the corner routes. He's going to catch the digs. He's going to catch everything to get you first downs. He is let's be real, tight ends are the utility.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy that I can get the ball to give me a first down. He's the guy I can get the ball to score me touchdowns. That's the utility player.
Mm-hmm.
But the receivers you have several roles. Star receiver says I can do all of it. Odell cannot perform as well as DeAndre Hopkins in a number 1 role.
Oh my God! So I'm gonna tell you from a DB standpoint.
Yeah,
tell me. If you put DeAndre Hopkins in the slot, we can put a linebacker over the top of him and shadow with him, because his speed isn't just taking you away.
Okay.
Odell, on the other hand, you put him in the slot. There's no slot corner that's going to stay with him. He's a nightmare, and you can give him any choice route, and he's going to do it.
The only reason why is because they don't put their best corner in the slot.
No, they do. Jalen Ramsey will follow you around the field. If you got that dog,
don't get it twisted. Okay, so don't get it twisted. Let me explain what I just said. What I'm saying is, usually slot corners are listed as number 3 corners, right? And a lot of times there's specialty for that. I think a major specialty, and the guy that really made it a specialty position, Charles Tillman. Peanut punch, baby. That dude was a phenomenal slot corner. However, if you're a number 1 receiver and Jalen Ramsey's assigned to you and you go in the slot, yes, you're going to make that adjustment and that type of thing because you want one guy and one guy the whole game. As a matter of fact, I'd even run cover 2 and just tell, hey, you're man, I'm in with this guy. The rest of the team's running cover 2. Do your thing. Like, it is what it is.
It is.
You
I'm
know
paying you $20 million.
Yeah,
just do your thing.
But at the same time, I'm telling you right now, I believe wholeheartedly. I don't care. There's no statistic on the world. We just pulled up the stats. There's no one in the world that can sit here and tell me that Odell Beckham Jr., if the Baltimore Ravens brought in DeAndre Hopkins and they gave the echelon of assets to Lamar Jackson, who finally got fucking paid. My man got the bag.
He did.
Thank you.
That's
And I'm very happy for Baltimore because that's going to make them a playoff team for the next 5-10 years.
Yeah, I mean, we're always
because his contract's what, 5 years?
Yeah, but we're always a playoff team. It's just
you're not a playoff team the way your team's built without Lamar Jackson. And I'm happy that they retained him because you guys now, you are a fucking competitor in the AFC. You will compete with Joe Burrow. You'll compete with every single team in the AFC. It doesn't matter, right? When you go into an AFC championship game, it's not, if you're playing, it's not a guarantee that the other team's going to win ever, because you guys will have multiple different facets that you can win the game in. Because I don't care what anybody says, Lamar Jackson can throw the ball. He can. Madden doesn't do him justice. Madden fucking shits on him, but he can throw the ball. He can run the ball. He brings a running dynamic similar to Jalen Hurts, a little bit different, but Jalen Hurts has that college dynamic of running the ball. You know what I'm saying? But either way, back to the main point. If you brought in DeAndre Hopkins, there is no one on the planet that could come to me and say, hey, Odell's going to be number 1 and DeAndre be number 2. And the problem with that is Odell's going to have a problem with that.
I don't think you think he has an ego, and he showed he showed in Los Angeles that he doesn't.
He showed everywhere that he does have an ego.
You have to have an ego in order to. You're playing in New York. Like, it's one thing if you're playing in Cleveland. Man. You can fall off the wayside in Cleveland. They're not expected to win.
That man got on ESPN for kicking a kicker's net.
He did,
and it fell all over and embarrassed him.
When does wide receivers with antics end up being a bad thing? Ocho Cinco made a living off of having off the field antics. T.O. had a living. Bring me my popcorn off the field antics. A lot of people, suddenly do you have a receiver like, Jamar Chase that's going to go out there, do what he need to do, and come back and just be silent.
You know what? I'll say this. The only reason why Terrell Owens didn't get signed in the last 2 or 3 years, he won't get signed now. I mean, he's way too out of the league now. But was his antics, his attitude. I mean, and you can have something to argue with that, but 2 years ago, I guarantee you T.O. could have gone on the team and he could have played and he could have produced.
I'm not saying he can't do it now. If Baltimore didn't just sign all the people that we signed, I would have took Terrell Owens. Look, we need somebody.
We needed a weapon.
We needed a weapon
at some point.
Somebody that was going to stretch it besides Mark Andrews.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that Dumerville is bad or Porsche is bad and all those guys. Robinson did a great job going in there and doing what he needed to do. He led our team. And we still made it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
We were almost there.
That's my point. The only problem you had is Lamar didn't play.
Yeah, I mean,
which again, I still going back. You can revert back. I agree with, but
I mean, you're right about Devontae. Now that you say it like that, I do think Hopkins is a number 1
top fantasy player.
You know what I mean?
Top fantasy players from.
I do think Hopkins is a better receiver than Odell. But I'm talking about 1A and 1B. Yeah, like they're not that different.
I'm not. Yeah.
I'm still concerned of my number 1 corner going against either one of those guys. The only 2 teams in the NFL that I feel comfortable with, and that's the Jets and the Dolphins.
You know what I love when we pull up the fantasy stats? My boy Christian McCaffrey in the Carolina jersey still up front.
I mean, that won't be for long. That won't be for long.
All right, there. Let's go fantasy football ranks top 50. All right, so. Do you have any last words you want to put on that? Because I put a bold statement out there. I'm telling you right now. I personally think, number 1, I don't think the Lions reach for him. I really don't. I think that with how well Jared Goff played, I think it should be an idea, but I don't think they should overextend for him. I think Carolina should vastly extend for him. I really do. I think that should be a legitimate landing spot because they don't have a certified number 1 receiver, and it's point blank because DeAndre Hopkins is a number 1 receiver. Any team that doesn't have a number 1 receiver, that's where he should go. But at the same time, if you're DeAndre Hopkins, you want to go to a place where you're going to win a Super Bowl. You don't know, number 1, you don't know. You know you got a good defense there. You have no fucking clue how Bryce Young's going to play with this offense. So
I'm tired of if I'm DeAndre Hopkins, I'm tired of playing with young receivers. I'm going in there with somebody
or young quarterback.
Young quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I'm going in there with someone that's proven with a proven resume.
Yeah.
The only reason why I'm not going to the Jets is because of tax reasons.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. No, I agree 100%. Because let's be real. No, I don't care who you are. If you're not going to go there and just get 65% of your paycheck taken away.
Yes. So therefore, I'm not considering New York, although they have Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to a team that is going to has already all they have to do is play. Their division isn't that hard.
Yeah.
I won't say like the NFC South with Tampa Bay, and that will be a great division for you to go into.
Would you ever consider playing with Baker Mayfield?
So to me,
I'm trying to catch you in that Christmas edition.
I'm so. Shout out, listen, I predicted.
He was so fucking trash.
I predicted that Baker Mayfield was going
to
go
to
the Tampa Bay Bucks.
We need to post that up right now. Here we go.
Not only did I predict that, not only did I predict that Baker Mayfield was going to go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I predict that he's going to figure it out.
Yeah, you did.
Baker Mayfield, to my knowledge, was one of the best college quarterbacks ever.
Fuck out of here.
If you look up his stats compared to Tim Tebow.
You're comparing Tim Tebow.
I'm just saying, to Godson himself.
He was absolute trash in the NFL.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
I don't care.
Ash just came into it.
This dude was garbage. All right, you want to talk about the greatest college quarterbacks of all time? Yeah. Number one, no doubt. Zero doubt.
Who?
Tim Tebow.
No.
What?
Look at Baker's stats.
My God, you're arguing for the sake of the
podcast. No, I'm just saying, look at Baker's stats.
Baker was fucking trash. Did he win 2 national championships?
Baker had like 80 touchdowns.
How many Heismans did he win? One.
Yes.
How many did Tim Tebow win?
He wasn't supposed to win the second one, baby.
Oh, he wasn't supposed to win the second one.
He wasn't.
Okay.
He wasn't.
Let's do
Reggie Bush was supposed to have 2 as well.
Let us move on now.
They took his, but
We're
Reggie Bush
done with that
bullshit.
bullshit. All right. Number one for 2023. So let's give a final prediction of where your boy's going to end up. And mind you, we're shooting this a week before it airs. So if he's on another team, it is what it is. Criticize because he's not going to stay a free agent for long. We discussed.
We already know that.
Yeah, but we have to shoot a week ahead of time. So either way, final prediction. Where do you think DeAndre Hopkins is going to end up?
If I'm DeAndre Hopkins, and I want to say I'm Nostradamus at this point.
Without your Baltimore.
Yeah, if I had to rub the ball head up top and think about where he's going, I'm going with Baltimore.
Ooh.
I'm going with us.
That's without prejudice.
Without prejudice. I feel like that's just it. We're trying to. You don't invest that much money into Lamar without giving him everything that he can to succeed.
I feel you.
And we paid the most.
We interrupt this episode to bring you Joe's Backyard Barbecue, a delicious, amazing, gourmet-type backyard barbecue meal with the most amazing service and the most amazing person that you can have at the helm, cooking those amazing ribs, the amazing brisket, and all the wonderful spices and barbecue sauce that you can imagine. So if you're in the Lake Worth, Florida area, make sure you go and see your boy Joe at Joe's Backyard Barbecue. And now, back to the episode. We have it up. So now we want to give you a little bit of insight when it comes to the fantasy football rankings, right, for next year. Number one, everyone has the world wrestling on Christian McCaffrey. Austin Eckler. Wow, they have Bijan Robinson for the Falcons as number 3.
Because the division is weak. Don't get it twisted.
His division is very weak. However, he's got to play Carolina twice, and they're not phenomenal. They are phenomenal against the run. They're not phenomenal against the pass.
So is Tampa Bay.
Yeah, but
so is New Orleans.
Saquon Barkley, right, number 4. Justin Jefferson, number 5. Jonathan Taylor, number 6. I feel bad with the fall off on him, but they're projecting him as RB5. That's terrible. Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Derrick Henry, Stephon Diggs, Tony Pollard. All right.
This is all BS.
So let's do this.
Let's do this.
Let's put our top 5. Let's put our top 5 right here, and then we'll continue on. So I got to tell you straight up. Number 1, I'm not going to give Christian McCaffrey the nod at the number 1 fantasy pick. Biggest reason, and I know you'll agree with me. It's too many weapons. It's too many weapons. He's going to split carries, and I mean he's going to get some catches out of the backfield. But the biggest reason why he was always number one is because Carolina gave him 8 to 10 passes a game, and they handed him the ball 20 times a game. That's what's going to produce a number one fantasy pick. He's not going to get that, and it's not based upon his ability. It's just based upon availability. I mean, Deebo Samuels is going to get some carries. You're going to split carries. Either way, he's going to be put in the best position to succeed. I'll tell you right now, I'm going to go right now. I'm going to go Jamar Chase number 1. I am. I'm going to go Jamar Chase number 1. I am going to stick with Austin Eckler as number 2. I think his diversity when it comes to their game plan, because let's be real, they're like a one and done team kind of thing. What I mean by one and done is they're going short or they're going long. That's it. And Justin Herbert, I think he's a top 5 quarterback, no doubt, in my opinion. And
my face didn't change. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But
top 8 got you.
Yeah, two or three. He's got 2 or 3 different receivers that could rank in the top 20 in the NFL.
Okay.
And I mean, I don't think there's an argument for that in his receiver core. And I think that Austin Eckler he's still going to get his passes out of the backfield. I think they love spreading the ball around, and I think he's still going to get 14 to 18 carries a game with Herbert being the guy where he's gonna. It's time for him to chuck that fucking thing around. He's gonna throw the ball 35, 45 times a game now. We're gonna win or lose on Justin Herbert this year. This is gonna be the year. So I think him as the number 2 is solid.
Ash, go down a little bit.
Yeah, Bijan Robinson, not a big fan. I will say I'm definitely not confident in Devontae Adams at all. You know who I will put at number 3 that I think is going to be a big one? I'm going to put Derrick Henry at number 3. Doesn't catch passes out of the backfield. We all know this. However, I think they're going to rely on him a lot more. I think the offensive lineman they drafted in that draft, I think he replaces a guy like Taylor Lewan. And, I mean, let's be real. Taylor Lewan, regardless of the prejudice, shout outs to the boys, dude was a nasty fucking player. He was a nasty left tackle. He brought the ideal that you can run the ball to the left. You know what I'm saying?
Whenever you want to.
Oh, yeah. That dude was a nasty motherfucker. And I think he talked shit. And I think he got in people's heads. And I think he ran his side of the field for a long time. Injuries derailed his career. And it sucks, but he's still got a legendary career from it. And I think they brought a guy in that is going to be not just as solid. I think he's going to be even more solid when it comes to his foundation, when he gets coached up, especially in year 2, year 3. I think he's still going to perform really well right now. And I think he's really going to open up that running game. Especially, and I don't think Will Levis starts. I don't think he should. I think you still need to stick with Tannehill. You need to put Levis ready for next year. I mean, Malik is a fucking afterthought there now. But I know that's disrespectful, but it is what it is. The world has deemed it. Honestly, I think they're going to rely on the running game a lot. I think he's going to a lot of extra carries, and I think he's going to carry the ball for 4.5, 4.7 yards a carry. And I think that he's going to bust another 2,000-yard season this year. I think he's going to do it. So scroll back up for me. And then, okay. And then I think that was my number 3. Number 4, I'm going to be consistent here. I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson. I don't think that well, you know what? Let me retract that, because I think that Adam Thielen attracted a lot of attention on the other side, and it opened a lot of things up for Justin Jefferson. And I don't remember who the Vikings drafted, but I'm not sure if it was a wide receiver or not, but I don't think that he's going to be in that case. Jonathan Taylor for number 4, 100%. You got Richardson. He's going to run the ball. He's going to try and throw it. I think he's going to be a project player, but either way, he's their starter. He was number 4 pick in the draft.
Cam 2.0.
Yeah, he was Cam 2.0. And let's be real, Cam relied a lot on his running backs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Jonathan Taylor is going to not hit a career high in rushes, but I think the fact that Jordan Richardson can run the ball and they're going to run the stretch read. They're going to run the ISO read. They're going to run all those things. And I think it's going to open up and it's going to freeze linebackers for him a lot. And I think he's going to get back to his 5.2, 5.5 yards a carry. I think that he's going to be a very, very solid pick at number 4. So go back to the other one. And then on the last pick, hey, Ash, can you go back to the...
That's it. That's it.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm retarded. Lastly, scroll back up. I would love to say, sorry. Honestly, I'm going to go out on a little bit of a limb here, and this is my bold statement of the year. This is my absolute bold statement. Coming off of a broken ankle, I think Tony Pollard's gonna rear it up at number 5. I really do. The way their offense is set up, and I think we know this, and everybody's in question because Tony Pollard got hurt at the end of last season. But let's be real. Tony ran that offense. He balled out. When he got his opportunities with the ball, which was 35, 45% of the time, balled out. I think he took advantage of a lot of running lanes that Ezekiel Elliott couldn't see anymore with age. It's dwindling down. It is what it is. I think he's a power back. I think Ezekiel Elliott should be in the NFL, but as a number 2 in goal line situations and short yardage situations. But I think Tony Pollard is going to have a breakout year regardless of the injury. I think he's going to come out. I think he's going to ball out. I think at the initial first 8 games where they grade everybody at 8 games in halfway through the season, I think he's going to be number 1 or number 2 in rushing. And not to mention, I'm going to put a bold statement right now. I think he is going to lead the league in rushing touchdowns next year. 100%.
You know, I'm gonna go a little bit opposite of you, and maybe
let's switch it up.
Maybe
what do you got?
Maybe
what do you got
that's
for your
just
top
me.
5? What do you
I
got
won't
for your top
even
5?
say with prejudice, obviously. Lamar's number 1 because whether he gets Hopkins or not, you surrounded him with weapons.
Only reason I didn't say him is because I don't know if his health is going to hold up.
He has we drafted a wide receiver in the first round, Zay Flowers. We have Odell. We signed, Nelson Aguilar, and we kept J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards. We have all the people that he's built camaraderie with still in that front 7.
Yeah.
As far as your wide receivers, you got him better receivers. Yeah. So he's used to not having this wide receiver that's capable of doing route 1 through whatever. Now, I don't have that one trick pony. I have that guy out there that can run every route and make it look pristine, and it's all about timing. He's going to be right on the same time as me. So I feel like Lamar's going to go out there, and he's going to take the NFL by storm.
So you're saying he's your number 1 guy?
He's my number 1 guy. Okay. First round, first pick.
Honestly, I would never disagree with that because you got a point. If he stays healthy, no, I will not disagree with you at all.
I think
if he stays healthy, he's taking the league by storm. And honestly, he wins the fantasy race by 50, 60 points.
With ease.
Yeah.
Second, I'm giving it to Jalen Hurts. Not because he's coming off the Super Bowl win.
Man, you're all quarterbacks, huh?
I got to go with quarterbacks because I feel like the quarterbacks are getting ready it's a passing league. So you got to give it to Jalen because Jalen's going to run the ball as well. Yeah. So he's going to get you rushing points as well as throwing the ball to these 2, Batman and Robin, whoever they decide to be at that particular day. And you got my boy Swift just came in. So I feel like that somewhat that Georgia camaraderie is going to give you.
You love that Swift pickup.
That edge. I do. I really feel like Miles Sanders was, him and Deuce Staley just wasn't clicking, and they still made it work. Yeah. Now you got somebody, not Miles and Deuce Staley and Swift wasn't clicking when they were in Detroit.
When they were in Detroit, yeah.
Now him going back to where Deuce Staley played at, he's going to go in there and he has a chip on the shoulder. I'm going to demolish every record that has your name on it.
It's not a bad point.
You mean
Not a bad point.
As an athlete, and you're going against alphas.
Yeah.
You're looking for any advantage, any chip, anything that you can give that gives you that edge to go out there and do a little bit more, perform a little bit hard, and make sure Detroit feels like they lost something by letting you go.
Yeah.
So I look at Jalen. He's going to be the beneficiary of that edge that he has.
But you have Jalen Hurts as number 2.
Number 2.
Who you got for number 3?
Number 3, this is relatively simple. Christian. For the other reasons why you say he's
I was going to say I didn't even put Christian in the top 5.
The reason why I got Christian there is because of what you said, like too many weapons. So you got George Kittle and playing safety. Man, I don't want this guy running full speed at me. I want somebody to get their hands on him. So you got the D lineman that's
D lineman that's going to chip.
You got the linebacker that's staying underneath and chipping, and then you got the safety that's staying over top. So I got 3 players focused on one. Debo.
Not to mention you're going to have 2 players focused on Debo.
Exactly.
I get your thought process.
So it's one of those things, and Ayuk is no longer a sleeping
I was going to say, if Ayuk doesn't get the bag on his contract, bro,
something's wrong
let's
with the
be real. Something is wrong with the San Francisco 49ers because that dude, every time they called his number, fucking came through.
Whether it was blocking down the field, whether it was catching the balls
doesn't matter.
You didn't expect him to do. I feel like he's an interchangeable part.
Ayuk is a guy that deserves the utmost respect in that offense.
So giving Purdy a full season, with Christian McCaffrey, I feel like there's no way he doesn't go out there and lead the league, take the lead.
You got a valid opinion.
He has a great O-line too.
Yeah. Who you got number 4?
Number 4 is a guy that just.
I'm sorry, I went number 4.
Number 4, and this is kind of bad because all these guys just got paid. So Justin Jefferson just got paid like $18 million as well.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
If not, I think even more, probably even like in the 20s.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, Justin Jefferson is no longer Thielen over there.
Yeah.
So I have to show I'm worth the money.
Yeah.
And it's not like Dalvin. We all know he's on the trade block right now. If he's not going to be cut by the time this is released, Dalvin is gone. So you don't have Dalvin Cook anymore. You don't have Thielen on the other side.
I don't understand why they want to trade him.
You have to show up. I am the offense. Kirk Cousins, I'm not taking anything away from him. Batman, he has to throw the ball to somebody.
Yeah.
And I'm who he trusts. So he's coming in this direction. They got Hackerson, I think.
So you're saying in his mindset, I gotta have that first 2,000-yard receiving season. I gotta have 25 touchdowns. I gotta have the whole thing.
I gotta have him saying Cooper Kupp who?
Yeah. Hey.
You mean and then when you go to my last place, I hate to go in this direction.
Who you got 5?
I hate this so much. But if and I hate the Cowgirls. I'm gonna put that on record.
You got Tony Pollard, don't you?
You know, no. This is going.
You got Dak Prescott.
This is going to take it. No, I didn't even go. Dak.
I was about to say you said the Cowgirls.
I did. I know it's your wife. That I ain't giving no attention.
Yeah. I know she's a diehard Cowgirls fan.
It's something about that 88 that's gonna come out.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
Something about CD Lamb. If you seen him play. And this is a crazy.
CeeDee Lamb isn't even top 30 in the rankings.
He doesn't have to.
Can we scroll down?
He doesn't have to be. The Dallas Cowboys are a team to be reckoned with.
Wow, he is. I'm sorry.
If you play him,
he's 18 in the
rankings. That good,
You're saying he's going to be top 5.
The reason being is because now you're no longer playing around like because I played Ezekiel Elliott, I'm going to play him. Now, if I'm in the secondary, if I see Ezekiel Elliott back there, I know my linebackers can tackle him. But just as the D line and the line.
Pollard, you're saying Tony Pollard is going to bring a brand new threat to the offense of the Dallas Cowboys, and they're going to make him prepare, and they're going to put CeeDee Lamb 1-on-1.
And that's what makes him.
That's not a bad prediction. That's really not.
So I feel like if I'm 4 for 5 at the end of the season, hey, call me out. But I believe that these guys are going to set the tone. And then you always have my MVP. This is the Mr. Irrelevant, Patrick Mahomes. You can never doubt the kid.
He's gonna be number 6.
He can never
honorable
doubt the
mention.
kid. Honorable mention. You can never doubt the kid.
Honorable mention.
He did
Shout
it
out
with
to the
nothing.
boys.
He did something with nothing.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and move it on. We gotta finish up. So, what we were moving on to our favorite segment of the week, Spice of the Week.
Spice of the Week.
We got to wrap it up a little bit quick, so we can't dive in too deep. But what is your Spice of the Week, my friend?
No need. I think I was this week was so many birthday parties. I think I went to 2 back to back, and I got a wedding next week. We're all excited about.
Yeah.
You know those guys.
Yes, we are.
So my Spice of the Week was simple. Taking Micah to go get tailored, suited up,
and booted.
Seeing this kid like
you got to get. You had to get a. Well, no. He's turning 9.
No, he's turning 10.
I was about to say he's turning 10. I'm sorry.
10,
I was mixing him up with Ryder.
Yeah.
No, he's turning 10. You had to get a 9-year-old suited and booted.
And he is so much like me. It's a shame. He's telling the tailor, "Hey, take the hedge out, the bottom." You know, he was like, "Hey, you know, I don't know if I want to do a bow tie, Dad, or do I do the skinny tie and put it on and put it out there?"
Do I just want to look like a fucking gangster?
But this is
hot
what
as shit.
This is what he said. He was like, "Dad, with the vest on, I feel like a waiter."
Yeah.
And don't get it twisted, Dad. I'm still the best looking waiter you ever seen.
That's awesome.
So that right there let me know.
Mike is a fucking gangster.
I feel like that confidence, son, if anything else.
No, I feel you. I feel you, dude. I feel you. So
that's my spice of the week.
That's it.
That was my spice.
Mine's going to be quick and concise, man, because honestly, my spice of the week was getting our first orders for the Tampa Bay Heart Walk. That was very fucking cool. We had a little moment in the bedroom because, as anybody that doesn't know, we are donating 100%. There it is. Look at the hat. Look at the hat. Right. Look at the shirts. We are donating 100% of the profit from our merchandise stores, starting as of May 25th all the way through June 30th. We're donating 100% of the profit to the Tampa Bay Heart Walk. And that was something that was really exciting. I remember I got up and I got a message and I got a yell from the other room, and she was like, Mike, there's orders coming in, orders. And I was like, oh shit. Cause you know, we had a few orders here and there, blah, 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 when we first released the merch. But when we announced the initiative, it really kickstarted just a cool trend, man. There's been people ordering. We've gotten a few hits every couple hours and stuff. And the donation dollars are just rallying up. And that was something that it gave me a fucking real big hype for the entire week, man. We went through Thursday and Friday after we announced it on Wednesday. And when she started telling me, and we started getting the notifications and everything, that shit fucking juiced me the fuck up, bro. I mean, I was hyped, man.
That goes without saying. I feel like we're going in the right direction.
That's what I'm saying.
Everyone is looking for a reason to give out. I mean, to give back.
Yes.
And give back in the right manner. You don't want to give to the wrong people.
Exactly.
And this is the right reason to give.
And that's a big thing I think that we wanted to do in this podcast. Like, a lot of people have podcasts in order to just, you know, become famous and become popular and make money and do all this bunch of stuff. And I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, a little part of me wanted to do this podcast so that, you know, we could become recognized. But honestly, there's a vast majority of my being that wanted to start this up, which is why we sit there and talked about it for months and if not years, where I was just like, bro, we could actually do some good and we can fucking give some shit back. And now we're still very small, but we've now hit a position where we can fucking do something to give back to our community. We can give back to the people that kind of give to us a little bit, you know, kind of give us shout outs every single week, share our posts, all those types of stuff. So it was a huge thing, bro. It was fucking phenomenal. So,
I mean, I want to say one tidbit. If you can find out a way to help out the community that you're living in, I feel like you're making a world of difference.
Oh yeah.
And we can all help.
Absolutely, in one way or another. I couldn't agree with you more, man. So, close this thing out. Let's let's do this. Go into the YouTube, go into the Spotify, go into Apple. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, right? Oh, we gotta tip our caps. So go in, subscribe, make sure you comment. Guys, I want some big ass fucking comments on your spice of the week, bro. We're not doing this bullshit anymore where it's just settled. We want you to get involved in the conversation. Comment, let us know what your top 5 rankings for fantasy football are in the comments, right? Comment on us. What's your spice of the week? Put a hashtag on it, spice of the week, right? Put a hashtag on it. 2D and T, right? Top 5 fantasy or whatever you got to do, man. Put some shit in the comments. We want to know what you guys are thinking. We want to get you guys involved. We love having all of our fans come in and fucking tell us what they're thinking and really get involved in the conversation. So, like I said, go into the comments, get your shit written down, voice yourself, right? We want to post it up here. We want to announce it. We want to talk about it. Let's do our thing, right? So don't be shy. Get it in the comments. And as I said, go subscribe. Secondly, go into the merch stores. Like I said, we're not asking you to go into the merch stores and buy merch so that we can go home with money. We're asking you guys to go into the merch store between now and June 30th. Buy your t-shirts, buy your tank tops, buy your hats. We have some cool stuff. I know it looks phenomenal. Ash designs all of the shit, so I know it looks fucking great.
Yes.
Right? So go in there.
I know we look good in these shirts.
Exactly. So go in there, buy your merch.
Shout out to
100% of the profit going to the Tampa Bay Heart Walk. Can't push that enough. But either way, close it out. Thank you guys so much for the love. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this journey of our platform. And let's keep it rolling, man. Let's get it in, and we'll see you next week. Deuces.
2 dimes and a token. You make Rosie.